Welcome back to Zen Life TV. Dan here, and in this video I want to challenge you. I want to ask you this question to see if you are guilty of doing this. Are you seeking to gain from the outside, or are you seeking to cultivate your inner garden so that you can give to the outside everywhere you go? And the way we can ask this question is, are you seeking experience, or are you on the journey of insperience? The more you go on the journey of insperience, the more you realize it's worth. Because the more you go inward, the more you understand the subtleties that define inner and outer, until you realize that it's so thin it doesn't even exist. For society's sake, skin is a pretty good barrier to understand what is inner and what is outer. But when you connect fully with nature, when you remember who you are, this tree is just as much me as my cheek. And if this tree is just as much me, so is this ground, so is the sky, and of course, so are you. I think so many of us still are looking to extract for our fulfillment. And enough of that style of living, right? Seeking experiences, trying to get fun, fulfillment, love, companionship, trying to complete what's incomplete in you from outside won't work. And I'm speaking from experience now, you reach so much of a torment, a suffering, that you realize you have to go inward. And when you go inward, you realize that there is no outside, because the changes that I or whomever is having the experience, the changes we're making on the inside reflect to the outside. So it's really all just one. Big shout out to everybody who takes the time to get still, because you can only understand what's real if you've silenced all the noise. That's why I'm out in nature so much all the time, because it silences this thinking mind that never wants to end. Mind never stops. And in a way, I'm grateful for that. And we've definitely been indoctrinated into using the tool nonstop, burning a lot of us out. I've certainly been there. And I was talking to somebody today just about coffee and how much I love coffee, how great coffee is, but how the alternative health community is really shifting it to try to be this superfood that it's really not. And the extent of coffee that people are drinking is terrible for their health, terrible for their adrenals. All just masquerading as driver of nutrients and helping support carbohydrate utilization. The reason I'm talking about this here is coffee is one of those cultural things that we're reaching for on the outside to keep our mind going. A lot of people associate it with work, getting work done, being busy, feeling like they're productive. But you have to have the inward journey to know that the things you're doing being productive are actually worth doing. So much of beings on the planet are just scattered around because they don't want to feel like they're not doing something. All the while, lots of people lose sight with why they do what they do in the first place. And that's why I can't help but make this video here. That's why I can't help but spread the message of fasting and meditation and sitting down and getting still and working with plant medicines and really checking in with your intention of why you do everything that you do. Getting to the bottom of it. The thing about the human mind is it's just a slate. It is completely programmable. And I am programmed right now as I'm talking to you. I'm shedding light on the programs, and I'm sifting through and working toward unlearning lots of behaviors. But so many folks just don't check in ever with themselves until something catastrophic in their life happens. So it's so important to ask yourself and be intentional about why you're doing what it is that you're doing. Because I believe we all have a moment of awakening at some point in our lives, and for a lot of us it might come right at the end, where we ask, what was it all for? And then we remember what our soul really wanted to do, and who it wanted to be, and what it wanted to represent, and what we wanted to be about. If we don't honor that, there's no greater penalty for that on the soul level. And that's something that is really experienced individually for each person. So I'm making this video here to act as a permission slip, to be a permission granter, and check in with what's worth investing your energy into. What do you naturally do well? What are the non-negotiables in your life? Who do you have to be around to be the greatest version of yourself? What is taking up a large portion of your energy that's not even getting you anywhere and you don't want to be doing? Once again, masquerading as busyness. A lot of my philosophy comes from my studies of the Tao Te Ching. One line that comes to mind is, the master does nothing, yet she leaves nothing undone. And my second favorite line that's coming to mind right now is, there might be so much out there that needs fixing, but there's nothing out there to fix. So if there's nothing out there to fix, but there's so much out there that needs fixing, the only reason stuff out there needs fixing is because we need to fix internally. Because there's nothing out there to fix. And I've probably listened to the Tao Te Ching audiobook over 100 times, second book of the Tao 50 times. And I'm always relearning, I'm always seeing more true meanings of what it's trying to convey. I want to leave you guys with this when we talk about Insperience versus Experience, the Maya versus the inner journey. So whenever you truly do want to have an experience, you want to go somewhere, you want to say, let's do this with somebody, and you know, it's that passion that's really coming out of you, and it might not be to actually get from the world, it's just something you're excited to do. Check in with, do you want to get something out of that set experience, or do you just want to do it because it feels good and you're going to be able to give so much to that experience, to the people of the place you're going to go to the community that you're going to be involved with when you do something that you want to do? Because when you can go into every scene in your life with knowing that you are going to give so much just by you being you and being about what you're about, ironically, it's going to come back to you and being an amazing experience. So the focus should always be on us, relating to us, so that we can show up being the best version everywhere we go. And if everybody does that, it's going to leave the world in a much better place. I think one day of that could be fantastic, although it's a journey, because this inner work and experience isn't just a day. You know, if everybody started on this in one day, first day might seem like hell, because we're all having to unlearn, we're all having to digest what it is we need to shake loose of what's not meant for us. So are you seeking experience, or are you committing to experience? Ask yourself that.